All right. Elder Scrolls Online 9.3.2 includes a number of adjustments to combat abilities and effects, including some changes affecting the Hemorrhaging status effect, in addition to more fixes for new dungeons, Gold Road prologue quests, some UI elements, and more. All right. Is that showing up? Yeah, okay, cool. Looks like they're testing the Jubilee anniversary. Cool. All right. Combat and abilities. Hemorrhaging adjusted the status effect's damage to be less penalizing while not at full stacks. This will result in a roughly 89% increase in damage at 1 stack, about 20% more damage at 2 stacks, and the same damage at 3 stacks. Overall, this means this status effect will now be 25% weaker than burning at base, the same at 2 stacks, and 25% stronger while at 3 stacks, resulting in a status effect that should be far less weak with low investment. Okay, this is really good. Yeah, on the PTS for week 2, there were builds, even using like Carve and Barb Trap together, you're still getting like 800 DPS from Hemorrhaging. It's really hard to keep it up at those 3 stacks for most non-wardens. So like the amount that you lost at 1 stack, it was just so low damage. So that's good. This is a good adjustment, I think. It still has the same top end at 3, so it's not anything super crazy, but more reasonable. Hey Floyd, you gonna help with the patch notes, bud? Thank you. I can use all the help I can get. Yeah, but that's a lot better. This is a lot better than it was. You know, you're still not gonna have a ton of bleeding if you're just running Barbed Trap or whatever. Which is fine though. I mean, that's kind of their goal, right? They don't want you to just slot Barb Trap and have like 5k bleeding DPS like it was on PTS week 1. So this makes sense, and I think this is a much better place for it than it was on week 2. Increase the sources of this status effect for non-warden builds to obtain the effect. Oh. Increase the sources. Interesting. That's also another problem. There were so few sources of this. They were in the week 2 patch notes. They were like, if you want to keep up the bleeds, you gotta find more ways to invest in it. And we were like what? There's barely any skills for it. So let there be blood letters. Okay, cool. Well, I guess we'll see what they did there. We got a sweet boy in my lap. He's gonna take a nap here, I think. All right, Necromancer, Gravelord, Sacrificial Bones, Blighted Blastbones morph. So this is the morph they left alone. This morph now always applies a disease status effect on hit. I mean, that is more damage, but that's not nearly enough to fix what's going on with Necros. I just put out a video recently covering Necros, covering the changes, offering some suggestions. I mean, this is a damage increase. Like, you know, Blastbones base is 3,600. Now guaranteeing that 370 from the status each time. I mean, it's... But you got to think, sometimes Blastbones was already proccing this anyways, because it's not a great chance as an AoE direct damage. But here, I can actually pull it up. We can look at the chance for it. Charged chance. Let's see. Here we go. So 5%. Move my calculator so y'all can actually see this. Or actually, I could probably just...
Oh hi, I didn't see you there. I was just working on my critically acclaimed novel ESO PTS patch notes 9.3.2.
Thank you, Frosty. Thanks for the 46 months. Holy cow. That's so long. All right, so let's look here. So roughly like 1 in every 5 to 6 hits from Blastbones is already proccing diseased here at a 5% base. It could be higher depending on your exact setup. So while it is nice that it's guaranteed, it's not huge. So probably, and it's only single. Wait, no, I guess that would be AoE as well, since it will proc it on everything that it hits. So I would say probably this will end up like a, I don't know, 8%, 6 to 8% damage increase for this skill, which is, I think, very far off from how much it needs. It's a step in the right direction for sure, but it's still really far off from what it needs, I think. Yeah, we can. So this Morph, yeah, it needs a lot more than just that. For PvP, I mean, now you have what, minor and major defile guaranteed on each hit with it, which is probably pretty nice, but it still needs a lot more damage. Like, it just needs to be pumped up more. In the video I did covering this, I thought it'd be a good idea for this to keep the base morphs increase to Gravelord and Dot abilities when you're using this. I think that would make it really strong and put Necros in a pretty decent spot. So we'll see. This is just a little bit of an increase, but nothing too huge. We'll move on to Templars. Dawn's Wrath, Backlash, Power of the Light. This morph now always applies the Sundered status effect when it deals damage, both the initial and explosion, rather than applying a unique 10-second form of Minor Breach, as Sundered will cover Minor Breach for a duration between. Note, this does mean Minor Breach can fall off for a very short period of time if this is your only source of triggering this effect. I like this one. This is good. Kitties. Kitties right here, Lolly. That was the easiest cat redeem I've ever had to do. Hey, Nalandia. That's a lion. Yeah. Yeah. I like this though. This is really good. Minor Breach it got buffed like all the other status effects. It's now twice as much damage, or not Minor Breach, sorry, Sundered. Sundered got buffed like the other status effects. It's now, come back, Floyd. No, don't leave me. Can I bring him to Amsterdam? I wish I could. But yeah, so Sundered is about double the damage it used to be. And it also gives 100 weapon and spell damage when it's up. So yeah, this is nice. This is a nice little, not a huge buff for Templars, but like having that twice every time you cast PotL, I like it. It's a good change. You know, the other morph has a pretty nice heal attached to it. The Minor Breach on this morph was kind of like, you know, for most scenarios, Minor Breach is already there. Like, you don't really care about the Minor Breach on this for most situations. So, and you still have it. It's just not 100% now. So I would much rather have it as this form than the way that it was before. Yeah, this is good. Cool, cool. Let's see, what else do we have? Snipe. Focused aim. This morph now always applies the sundered status effect rather than a unique form of minor breach for 10 seconds. Okay. So one morph applies poison now, and this morph applies sundered. That's interesting. That is interesting. Maybe on sorcerers, this morph could be better now, since they get a buff to physical damage. I think the other morph is probably still going to be better for most setups for that poisoned, but this one's definitely worth checking into now with that little bit of extra damage from sundered and the extra 100 weapon and spell damage as well you get. Yeah, that's cool. I like what they're doing here so far. I think Blastbones needs way more than this, but I do like the direction they're going with this stuff and adding in these guaranteed statuses to kind of complement the new system of buffed status effects. Let's see. That's always applies that. Dual wield lacerate. This ultimate and its morphs now also apply the hemorrhaging status effect each tick. Okay, so that's guaranteed from this now. That puts a little bit of extra pressure on with that ultimate. I have to recalculate the total damage from that now with that factored in. So that'll be something I need to look at. Focused aim I need to look at. PotL don't really need to look at. That's just better now. So that's cool. I think if you want that heal, Purifying Light's going to be the route to go, but otherwise you want the extra damage, Power the Light. Let's see. Reverse Slash Executioner. This morph now deals bleed damage rather than physical. This was done to help additional sources of the damage type enter the game to help balance out ways to apply status effects. Okay. I mean, I feel like a lot of the dual wield and two-handed types of skills could deal bleed damage and it would make sense. I don't know, like, I'm not sure how much this morph in particular really makes sense over any other skill to deal bleed, but I mean, I think it's I don't know how much this is really gonna... I guess during execute, your bleed damage will go up. It's a 10% chance at a base with Executioner. Means 16% no staff, no charged. Or if you're running charged, 40% chance. You don't see charged too often on a two-hander though. So not a very big chance to proc it. I'm not sure how much this is really going to make a difference, adding it onto an execute. Bleed does not scale up during execute. No, that's the poisoned status effect that scales up. I guess a little bit of a nerf for sorcerers. Probably, I don't really see this changing much for other classes. Maybe if you're running a specialized type of bleed build and you're running Executioner, it could be a little bit of a buff, but this one doesn't seem to probably do a whole lot. I should have added a guarantee to carve. Yeah, I could see that. I could see a guarantee to carve being good. Alright, Vampire. Eviscerate. This ability and its morphs will now also apply the hemorrhaging status effect. Okay. Vampires get guaranteed hemorrhaging on their spam now? That's a nice little buff for the vamp spam. That's a nice little buff there. Blood for blood gaming, yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah, because like the reason I look at something like this is a lot more impactful than something like Executioner. Like this, they just changed the morph to deal bleed damage. So it's still, like we were looking at, it's not a huge chance to apply hemorrhaging. So really, like the tooltip for most setups is going to be identical, and it's not. And instead of getting sundered, sometimes you get bleeding. Sometimes it's not really that big of a difference. And you only use this during execute, so it's only a small portion of the fight, anyways. Whereas like something like this with Eviscerate, it's now guaranteed to apply hemorrhaging, and it's a spammable that you're using like throughout a fight. So reverse slice better for Sork. Yeah, because Sork gets a bonus to physical damage. So this is actually a little bit of a nerf to sorcerers, that if you were using Executioner on a sorcerer. So probably the other morph that deals physical would be the better route to go. Maybe. This one does scale up higher than the AoE morph, but yeah, we'll have to look at it. I'm going to one of the things I want to do for this patch, mostly in prep for scribing, is get this all updated. I want to get everything in here all up to date, so that once scribing comes in, we can just plug everything in and see where it's at. I've started working on it a little bit, but that'll probably be one of my focuses after the next couple of days, once everything's caught up from the PTS notes. I already updated the status effects in here on a couple of the classes, the base tooltips for those. I need to change hemorrhaging now that they've fixed that up. What did they say? Oh, we don't have to do that right this moment, but yeah, that'll probably be the next thing I'm working on. Don't burn yourself out. Oh, I won't. I'm good. I am good. I have found a pretty good balance, I think. So appreciate the concern, but no, I've been really enjoying digging in on this PTS. I felt zero signs of burnout on this stuff. So yeah, but this is good. This is good for the vampire spammable. Pounce. This ability in its morph's initial hit will now always apply the hemorrhaging status effect. That is not as impactful, since you're not using Pounce as often as like a vamp would their spammable, but it's still a nice little extra oomph there for werewolves. Typically, like the way I did it anyways, it's like a double Pounce every 9 seconds, I think. I haven't played Werewolf in forever.
Hi.
But you have to do it once, I think, to refresh it. Or maybe it's just initially a double Pounce. I don't know. I'll have to look at it again. It's been a long time. I remember having to Pounce more than once in a row, though, to apply the bleed.
Hi.
So I guess you'll get a little more out of that since you're stacking it up. Haven't played Werewolf in forever. No one has, Skinny. No one. Yeah, it's been a hot minute for me. Cruel Furry. We're talking about werewolves. Cruel Flurry. fixed an issue where this set could occasionally enhance channeled abilities. This set needs something, because nobody uses this set. If they do, it's just slotted because they got it on their first Maelstrom run and they're like, oh cool, I have a Maelstrom set, I'm gonna use this. They absolutely gutted single target dots from what they used to be. So this set just is not that great now. Yeah, I like all these changes. I just don't think this is quite enough, especially for Necromancers. I'll be interested to see where Wardens are at with a little extra bleed here. This boosted up a little bit on the low stacks. I don't think that's going to make them desirable in high-end content or anything, but I'd be interested to see how it affects their damage at least. Should be a small bump. But I do like the extra sources of guaranteed status effects a lot. I think that's a good change, or a good set of changes. But yeah, Necros need a lot of love. No adjustments to any of the new sets here. I was hoping maybe other people had been submitting feedback and some of that would have been heard and accounted for. At least some small changes to the sets so far. But yeah, it looks like that's where we're at. So after this, my next video will be covering the sets. I'll put all my feedback on them in a video to share on YouTube with everybody, and then I think after that I will probably dig into updating all the skills. It shouldn't be too big of a project, because I mean, I updated it in 39, so there's not that many changes since then to account for. But yeah, for the YouTubers, thanks for watching. Bye.